When the Beatles wrote that tune in 1970, the United States was at war. Here in 2014, we're still at war. We're still at war internally and externally. In 2014, we still kill with words, with bullets, with actions. And yet today, we light the candle for peace. How is it possible that we affirm that peace is always present? And yet, we witness and watch acts of violence, hatred, and inhumanity on a daily basis. This, of course, is all of our journey. I had the advantage of knowing that I had to speak about peace this week as I watched the world. And we become numb. We become numb to the fact that we have been at war since 2011. And that every day coffins come home to some family whose child, whose loved one, whose father or mother has been killed by a bullet. And that every day, even on the streets, we are complicit as we say it's okay for our policemen who are supposed to protect and serve us to wear combat gear and night vision goggles and drive tanks down our own cities. We say it's okay because if we didn't say it was okay, it wouldn't be. This is what we have all agreed to. And it is so painful to look at, to see, and to hear. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Something we all take for granted. So how is this? How is it that our unity teachings are true? That our thoughts create? Well, that's a two-edged sword. Look at what we've created. We've created a world of hostility and blame. A world of they didn't do it. Whatever side, like there could be sides in this. Whatever perspective you're operating from in this moment, whatever lens you have on, whether you understand the pain of Michael Brown as he was railing and angry at the world for everything he had experienced in his young life and the insanity of what he had been put through. Or if you want to understand the fear and the lack of understanding, the worry inside the cop who at that moment was doing what he was trained to do. Or the families and the friends who had been tired, so tired in Ferguson and said, enough, I will not take this anymore, and lashed out in the same violence and destroyed property and the peace that was. Unless we get off this wheel of misery, waiting for the world to be like we think it should be, to have peace, waiting for the world to and others to act better before we have peace, we will always be in pain and be in turmoil. The Beatles and Margot sang that song this morning, and it has been echoing through our culture, the world's consciousness, for decades now. But do we understand what it is to let it be? When I find myself in times of trouble, the sweet Divine Mother comes to me and says, accept this. Let it be. Stand in this moment, in this pain. Don't ignore it. Let it be. Let that pain, that cry, that moaning come from you and through the world. Because until we all have the courage to say, this hurts, we can't be at peace. Until we can endure whatever happens, and knowing that it doesn't disturb the still, calm space of our being. We only create more pain. When we lash out in anger, we only create more hurt. Someone shared an analogy with me this week that helped me as I was wrestling with all this. And she said to me, she says, when an airplane is flying across the country, rock, you may know something about fishing, and hits turbulence, what does the pilot do? He goes to a different altitude. He changes course. He doesn't say, well, I'm going to just go right through this turbulence and it will stop it. He changes where, or she, changes where she is in the stratosphere to be able to avoid the turbulence. So if we are standing in pain, the answer is not to act out in the same space, is not to be there, but to lift ourselves to a higher consciousness. To know that when we are hurt, when our family is killed, yes, when there is something that seems intolerable, to stand in the center of our being and rise up. Rise up in the consciousness of prayer, in the consciousness of meditation, and in the consciousness of faith, and know that there will be an answer, because there is already an answer, and it is within you. It is in with each and every one of you that the answer lies. The consciousness of peace, the consciousness of hope, the consciousness that changes every image I just showed on the screen is already within you. When we allow that consciousness to come forward and transform the situation, when we are strong enough, when we are brave enough, when we demonstrate our faith, our first candle, our faith enough to stand in front of anger and pain and terror and fear and say there is something higher and I am going to go to that higher place, we change the situation. After Eric Gardner was killed in New York in a stranglehold, a group of performers gathered in Times Square and created this.
Let's discuss this. Put it to rest because this needs to get off our chest. Let our mouths be our muskets. Words and bullets not to be fussed with. This is how we shoot back. With this assembly, we aspire to provoke, not riot, but conversation. This congregation has come together to express its dissent of police matters. So, in exercising our right to be heard, the only proper police protocol is to use excessive force. Forceful words. Because some of your actions have suggested that talking Talking is out of the question. And that causes me to question, how can you question your suspects once they lay dead at your hands? How? How do you release preemptive news bulletins once you unwarrantedly release 1 or 2 bullets in a young man's chest? It's suspect. How quickly your suspects turn to victims. Routine arrests are looking more and more like modern-day lynchings, and I understand that it's a slippery slope. It's your job to bear arms, but not to wrap your bare arms around folks like rope, like boa constrictors. I can't breathe being screamed in a whisper. So, for those of you who wear the blue, let's get this clear. Let's get this clear. I fear that until the injustice stops, red, white, and blue will go down in history, represented by the blood unjustly stained on the uniforms of cops. We've got to stop with the speech blocks. Let's discuss this. Put it to rest because it needs to get off our chests. Mouths be our muskets, words the bullets not to be fussed with. This is how we shoot back. This is how we shoot back. This is how we shoot back. This is how we shoot back.
So this is how we shoot back. We have the courage to stand up and say peacefully, this cannot go on. We have to have the difficult conversations about race, about policing tactics in our world, about war, and we have to do it from a place of peace. Because you cannot solve a problem at the level with which it was created. Right? You cannot solve a problem by adding more fuel to the fire. If we want this to stop, we have to have the courage to stand defenseless in front of it and have the difficult conversations and ask the questions. What's it like for you to live in this society? What's it like to be pulled over by a cop for nothing? What's it like to be a woman, a gay man, a gay woman, a minority in this society? And be really willing to hear the answer. To be uncomfortable, right? To be uncomfortable with what we have created. And to listen peacefully so that we can make a change. Being outraged doesn't mean violence. Being outraged means that the status quo cannot continue as long as I say it can't. That I am willing to change myself. I am willing to be uncomfortable so that the whole planet can find a different level to fly through. A different path to peace. A different path to understanding. This is why we light these candles. The candle for faith, knowing that there is something that is greater. And we have the faith to know that we are calling it forth, that it already exists. And today we light the candle for peace. When we sit in peace ourselves, we are preparing ourselves for what is to come. We are preparing ourselves for the journey we have to take. This is not random passivity. This is radical peace. This is radical transformation of the planet. And we here have joined together today and answered the call, whether you knew this is why you were coming to church today or not. You have answered the call to lift yourselves to a higher way of being. We lit the candle for peace. Each and every one of you now carries that flame out to the world and have been empowered and emboldened to have that conversation. To talk to your friends and your family and to strangers, and find out what it is to be peace in the midst of conflict. To really practice, as Joel taught us today in the 5 lessons, the 5 principles. To practice, practice, practice. And knowing that God is here and all is well. I'm going to invite our music team up right now, because I've asked us to sing a song this holiday season to bring us into meditation. You may know it, but I invite you to hear it with different words today. It's called O Come, Emmanuel. And think of this as the affirmation, the chant, the mantra for yourselves as you go through your life this week, as you go through the journey of being peace in the world, to know that ransomed captive Israel is within me. We ask God to come into our hearts and minds and our consciousness in full awareness. And when we do, we get to rejoice. O come, Amen. And order all things far and high. When we can know that what we have been doing isn't working, in humility and truth we can let it go. And we can allow the consciousness of God, Christ, Buddha, Krishna, to permeate every cell and atom of our being. To let go of the thoughts of revenge and the thoughts of justice. And allow peace. No justice? Peace. No calm? Peace. Peace. Above all. Peace that passes understanding. Peace that transcends the worldly. And peace that cannot be challenged. Peace that cannot be taken from us by anyone else's actions. O come, that consciousness that lifts us. As we take a breath, remembering the gift that breath is, we allow ourselves to mourn what is and to celebrate what can be. So we lift ourselves to a higher consciousness. We transcend the turbulence and create a new order, one candle at a time. I invite you now, in this moment, to light your own candle for peace. When we light this candle, we ransom our own captive. That part of us that is chained to our thinking, chained to the world order, and chained to how it should be. Light the candle for yourself today and set the whole planet free. Light the candle for yourself this holiday season and experience Christmas in a whole new way. Not an event that happened 2,000 years ago, but an awakening that happens within you, right here.